Hello everybody and welcome to what I hope is going to be an exciting finale to the Final Fantasy I 4-Class Challenge 2020. We are in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and I'm showing the Phantom battle just to show off this party a little bit. You can see that we have all done our class change. The ninja has the katana right now. The defense sword is in the hand of the red wizard. The white wizards are almost exclusively going to use the items for area of effect damage, even on a battle like this. So this is my first walk through this dungeon. As you can see, this is going to be one where I do go down to get the Masamune, and I exit myself out, and then come back down with the Masamune, just so that I can see what the dungeon looks like. I normally would push right through to the end, but I decided with this party I would give it a try to use the exit spell, because this party can generally get through this dungeon fairly quickly with what we have, and I wanted to see what the Masamune would do against the likes of these guys. So you're actually going to see these guys twice. So this is a warp ahead a little bit to the Lich battle. This is Lich 2, 500 hit points, lots of nasty attacks, 96 out of 128 chance to use Nuke on its first attempt to do something. So 96 out of 128 times it's going to use Nuke. Nuke is non-elemental, so it does big damage, and my ribbons that I have characters equipped with, I have 3 ribbons on. Everybody except Challenge at the bottom has a ribbon. So you saw Nuke goes right through that, because as non-elemental it can't be resisted, even with the wall spell that the white wizards have access to, which basically grants you the wearing of a ribbon for the duration of the battle. That's what the wall spell does. It protects you from all 8 of the game's elements. So after taking Nuke, I'm just barely standing up, but luckily this guy only has 500 hit points. So the fasted ninja there with 8 hits is going to take it down. I did grind up to a level where the ninja got to 8 hits with the katana. It's kind of sad, the ninja class in this, that the red mage actually has more hit accuracy than the ninja with similar weapons. Just because the red wizard's stats for physical attacks grow at a rate that's pretty comparable and even a little bit better than the ninjas, so it's kind of sad that at this level the red wizard is actually a little bit better with his weapon. So I'm using Invis 2 here because we are on Carry 2. Carry 2 still has the nasty 6 attacks. She has 700 hit points, and so her prime damage is going to come from her 6 hit physical attacks. There is an Afer anyway, just in case she does use. She can use Fire 3. She has a 48 out of 128 chance to use a spell. So she goes Fire 3 Rub, Fire 3 Rub, Fire 3 Stun, Fire 3 Stun. So, but like I said, most of her threat is going to come from physical attack. So using the white shirt and casting Invis 2 is going to give us protection from that. So you can see she will start to land fewer attacks as the battle goes on. She has a defense of 60, which is why my ninja, even with all those hits, without criticals, is barely getting any damage through, because the ninja has a hard time overcoming that much defense. That's one of the reasons that the fast spell does so well, is that it gives you more attempts to do crits. It's not really, you saw 4 hits for 13 damage there from the red mage using the defense sword. The defense sword has a little bit more 2-hit accuracy than some of the other weapons, like the Sun Sword at this level. So I take a couple points less of the damage and go for a few points more of the accuracy. It's not quite enough to get him into another hit, sadly, but so you can see 4 hits for 77, no crits though, and 8 hits, 194. When it says critical hit, that means that at least one of those went critical. And the katana is supposed to have a pretty nice critical hit rate. Of course, the critical hit is bugged in this game, so we don't actually get the way it needs to be. So it does still have a better crit range than other weapons, because it's high up on the spell or in the weapon table, which is what it really uses. So the ninja here is going to cast Fast on himself, because the red mage is going to cast Invis 2. The white mages are going to cast Invis 2, and I'm going to cast a Lit, because Lit 2 is on the list of spells here from Kraken. But again, the biggest threat is the physical attacks. It has an attack of 70, and it has 8 hits. So it can do 70 to 140 times 8, up to 8 times. So you can see that thing can take you out in one shot quite easily. So stacking up the Invis 2s, which do stack, by the way, they are cumulative throughout the battle until it gets to a maximum in the game, to where you can almost not be touched. So I'm going to use a Cure 4 here. That's a level 7 spell, and because I am going to be grabbing the Masamune and exiting out, I'm not worried about burning up the spells here in this one. This party probably could go right to Chaos after getting the Masamune, but I wanted to just see what it looked like. So you will see these bosses again, these 3 bosses, over the next couple of minutes, as you see the Masamune really go to work on these first 3 bosses one more time. So Kraken here, by the way, has 900 hit points, which is 100 more than its other form. It still has 8 hits, but it does 70 attack instead of 50. And then instead of just using ink, it can use lit too, which it's almost not worth using a lit here because 3 of the characters have ribbons on. That last character doesn't have a ribbon, so it means lit 2 will do a little bit less damage, but lit 2 is not really a threat for this party so much. So, but I wanted to at least use those a little bit down here in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Not too much, but... So, Kraken, despite being aquatic, is not weak to lightning. It resists fire, it resists earth, but it's not actually weak to lightning. Lightning will do the same amount of damage as any other spell with a similar damage rate. So the ninja there is still doing nice damage. The defense is 70 for Kraken, and I'm not much over that. I'm not over that with my base attack for my ninja. So that was a good one from the Red Mage, 147, and then there we finally get all 8 to land on the ninja, and a few of those went into the critical range. So now it's going to look like we're going backwards as we go on to Lich again. But this is having grabbed the Masamune on the next floor, and we jump back down to Lich. So you can see the ninja is now in the second position because the ninja will take a little bit fewer targeted hits. The white mages are still down there at the bottom. Lich, again, like we said, the biggest threat is with Nuke. Now, if Lich chooses not to do Nuke in the first round, that is a huge boon for us because we are going to take Lich down in about 1 round, 1 or 2 rounds. Even without the Masamune, it's about a 2-round fight. You just want to get lucky and have Lich not do his big attack. So there's 4 hits. There's Fast on the ninja. The Light Axe casts harm too, so it's doing damage to the undead. So Lich did not use Nuke that time, as you can see, so I'm going all out here, hoping that we can get the finishing shot on Lich, and indeed the Light Axe does it. So we got pretty lucky there that we didn't take a Nuke, and we're not burning up a bunch of healing spells to get us 300 hit points each back. So now we're back on to Carry 2 once again. And I'm going to have the Red Mage again use Fast on the Ninja. The Ninja's going all out with the physical attacks with the Masamune, and we're going to try to stack up a couple of Invis 2s with the White Shirt and with the Hard Cast. So you saw that first attack, a lot of damage landed on that Red Mage. The Red Mage has okay armor, but not great. The Ninja has better armor, but I just didn't want the Ninja to get kind of piled up on by bosses, because the ninja is also my primary damage dealer. And these bosses, especially down here in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, it's all about win fast. This game does not really balance well to long, grindy kinds of battles. So you saw Fire 3 did more damage to the challenge character, but that Fire 3 didn't roll the damage doubling multiplier. So it still did more damage than against the characters that resist fire because of the ribbon, but it didn't have the big damage if it had quote-unquote hit. So there we go, all 8 hits landed from the Masamune. I should say it's 10 hits. The Masamune has 5 hits on the base attack from the ninja, so it's 5 hits without Fast, up to 10 hits. So 8 of the 10 hits landed there from the ninja. So we actually have 2 more hits coming in with Fast because the Masamune grants a higher accuracy value, also has a higher crit value. So that higher accuracy value puts you in every 32 points of accuracy is another hit for you. So it's kind of like the base attack in Dungeons & Dragons, which I'm sure that's what they were going for. This is the luckiest thing you can roll at the beginning of a Kraken battle. it has to skip a 48 out of 128 chance to use a spell, and then it has to get the 32 out of 128 chance to use ink. So ink is what we want it to do. Everyone's going to resist darkness status. I think that's in the status element. So the ribbon will resist it, plus the darkness status does not function as it's supposed to. So it doesn't really stop us from getting our attacks in, which is nice. Yes, status is considered an element in this game. So the 8 elements are kind of your traditional elements, but then also a lot of the status type things they have an element tied to them. So there's a poison stone element, there's a time element, which is interesting, and then the earth element has just a couple of things use the earth element, and the time element also. There's not very many abilities that use the time element. Anyway, so we're just going to try to keep everybody alive. You can see the red mage has taken a couple of hits. I'm not worried about that. I don't mind the red mage soaking up the damage. I wouldn't care if he went down during one of these earlier boss battles because I have plenty of life spell charges on the white wizards, and the ninja is, as long as the ninja's on his feet, we have a chance to win the fight. Doesn't matter. So there you've seen the same 3 bosses. Now we're going to go on to Tiamat. You see I've moved the white mages up to the top. Tiamat with 1,100 hit points this time. He can actually cast Bane, or I think she can actually cast Bane in this one. So we really want to get the wall spell onto Challenge there, who does not have the ribbon. We're going to try to fast that ninja and do as much damage as we can. So Tiamat has damage of 75. He only gets 4 hits because you can see the of the heads. She got 4 heads. So 4 attacks coming in. Merilith or Carrie has 6 because of the arms, and then of course Kraken has 8. So the designer's matching the sprite with how many hits that they would get, which is pretty cool. The bigger thing that Tiamat can do here is she does lots of area of effect elemental damage. So she can use like Ice 2, Lit 2, Fire 2, Thunder, Poison, Blizzard, Blaze. Poison is a really nasty one that can do a ton of damage. That's an ability, not a spell. Poison is a nasty one. So that's why I wanted the wall spell on Challenge there, so that Challenge will resist all of that elemental damage that Tiamat will throw at us. And theoretically, we should be resisting even the Bane with the ribbon, but there is a very small chance that Bane can land even through a ribbon. And not to spoil anything, but we may see that in this fight. Anyway, we're just going after physical damage. This is a longer fight, 1,100 damage. There's 311, pretty nice. And the fasted ninja's doing really, really well. Here comes Bane. And indeed, right there, that red mage did have a ribbon on, and Bane did hit right through it. The poison stone element did punch through the ribbon, and you do see that happen sometimes. You do see that happen, and just not much you can do about it. You can't revive party members in battle, sadly. So now it's really just about the ninja, getting the ninja's hits in. The heal staff, now that Bane is done, we don't have another Bane coming up for 3 more spells. So it goes Bane, Ice 2, Lit 2, Fire 2. So the spells are actually quite not threatening from Tiamat now at this point, now that Bane's done. So we do have the luxury of just using the heal staff and the heal helmet, which those items with ribbons on will heal back about as much damage, maybe even a little bit more than some of her spells coming in. So we don't mind grinding it out a little bit here with Tiamat, and there down goes Tiamat. Kind of funny 666 experience for each of you if it's just 3 of you. Now I almost lost right after Tiamat because I got into a battle with 6 sorcerers, and they chain stunned us, they stun locked us, and they took down everybody except my red mage. They took down 3 of the 4 characters before I finally got an Ice 3 off from the red mage. So the defense sword for the red mage, or the red wizard. We've got a couple white mages and then the ninja down there at the bottom. So this is the setup for us right here. I've got as much defense as I can get for that red wizard up top. And then we need to have Challenge again, get the wall spell cast so that they can resist the crack. So crack is the first ability that Chaos has, there's the look at the spell list. The first ability that Chaos has is called Crack. It's an instant KO attack, and it's Earth Elemental. So everybody resists it who has a ribbon on. So if we get the wall spell off before Crack comes off, we should all survive it. Then the Chaos battle really has two phases traditionally, in my opinion. Chaos has Cure 4, so it's a full heal in its routine. I'm just going to be fasting both of our attackers, and we're going to try to get the wall spell off in this first round. So Cure 4 is the fourth spell that Chaos uses. Chaos has a 64 and 128 chance to use a spell any given round. So it's generally considered you're in phase 1 of the battle before Chaos has used Cure 4. Then, after that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more spells before it wraps back to Cure 4. So that's usually the window where you want to do the damage that's going to take Chaos down. But you don't want to bank on that too much because Chaos might skip the spells and use more abilities, say, or might use physical attacks, which it has 2 attacks for 100 to 200 each. So it's pretty big attack value. 2,000 hit points here from Chaos, so there is not a set strategy here. If you go all out on trying to take Chaos down before Cure 4 shows up, you can kind of overstretch yourself a little bit. If you're not healing, if you are burning, I have the Fade spell on my White Wizards. If I'm burning those, every bit of offense I have, I might waste all of that, and then the second phase, I don't have much left. So because I have the White Wizards here, I'm stepping back a little bit, especially with the white mages, and I'm just letting my physical attackers go and see what kinds of things Chaos is doing. I'm kind of keeping track of Chaos's spell rotation, and I'm also keeping track of about how much damage is going in. If my physical attackers start to do in the range of 400 to 500 damage a couple of times, and I'm like more than halfway through, I might get a little more aggressive. So there's 7 hits for 227. 5 hits for 105. So you can see we're not getting the huge hits that you can get. You can get some big ones on Chaos. So here I'm just taking a second to think about the damage I've done, think about where Chaos is in the routine. The spell list goes Ice 3, Lit 3, Slow 2, and then it's Cure 4. So once Chaos casts Slow 2, the next spell it uses will be Cure 4. That doesn't mean the next round it'll do Cure 4, because it has the whole checks to see if it does a magic attack. And then it checks to see if it does a skill, and then if it doesn't do either of those, then it will do a physical attack. So there's Lit 3. We're on, that's spell number 2, but we're actually 6 hits for 6 damage. That's funny. All right, so not too bad on the damage, but he's actually going through the spell list rather slowly since he has a 50-50 shot of doing a spell every round. Because sometimes it comes very quickly. Sometimes Chaos, just because of the luck, doesn't do spells very often at all. So we're just watching. I'm trying to stay healed up. I have the wall spell on. I have some Invis 2s on our characters. So Slow 2 right there tells me that Chaos's next spell will be Cure 4. So, but I have seen in my characters, I have seen a couple of pretty big hits. Now, I'm anticipating that Cure 4 will happen this round, so that's why I'm using the heal helmets again, the heal staff, just to pick up a little bit more hit points. I don't have any of the big heal spells on my white mages because I don't like wasting spell charges on those generally. So I see that one, 6 hits for 445, and then this one's not very big. But because I saw that, my thinking is this: Chaos is pretty close to down. And so my fighters are going to fight anyway. They're going to do that anyway. But white mages, I'm going to have them cast their Fade. Fade is like the holy spell in this game. And if Chaos uses Cure 4 before Fade, then fine. Fade starts the next round. But if we can actually get Chaos with Fade before it uses Cure 4, that might get us within striking range of the finishing shot. And that's indeed what happened there. So I knew that Slow 2 had already come. I used the Fade spells because, like I said, Chaos might have gone first and used Cure 4, and then the Fades could have gotten a nice start on the second part of the battle. And then I would have gone Fade, 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 and thrown as much offense as I could at Chaos with those white mages. But as it is, we beat Chaos in the phase 1, we could say, of the battle. In phase 1, that's the pre-Cure 4 phase. We never saw Cure 4. We didn't have to deal with anything past that. So this was the first attempt at Chaos, and we got pretty lucky with that, I would say. That's above average luck. And we're going to get whatever, as as much of the exposition of the story as they could give us back in the late 80s, early 90s as this game came out. So this is a very rewarding sequence here at the end, especially when playing it on a console, as I chose to do this time. This is the second or third time that I've ever finished the game on this particular cartridge. This cartridge was purchased for me by my grandmother back in about 1993. I gave her a shout out in the first part of this one, and I'll give her another shout out. This game was on clearance at the KB Toys Rack in the again in the 92 to 93 when the Super NES was already out and they were getting rid of their NES games. I'm glad I got this one. I've had it. It's been in my possession since then. But I played this game so many times on ROM hacks and improvement hacks and everything that I haven't really done it much on the cartridge because, of course, ROM hacks usually have some quality of life improvements, but I'm happy that I could do it here on the NES, on the cartridge, and get the capture here to share with you today. Lots of thank yous to give out for this run. First, of course, RK, who runs these events, the Final Fantasy V 4-Drop Fiesta and the off-season events here. So please go check out the work that RK is doing, the Final Fantasy V events, the speedrun events, and then, of course, the Final Fantasy 1 event right here. I also want to give a shout-out to Astral Esper et al. Astral Esper is the author of the Final Fantasy Game Mechanics Guide that is on GameFAQs. She put together a very, very comprehensive document. Looks like it was last updated in 2009 as I'm looking at it. But Astral Esper and the gang, the people like Leviathan Mist and Grand and all kinds of other people who work on these Final Fantasy 1 hacks and Zonk Miles. I keep thinking of more people who are working on hacks and guides to this game, the randomizers and everything else that's been done with this. It's pretty amazing that there's still such a great community. Here we've got Alex Jackson, Anomi, Ben Siren, Dish, Gran, Mighty Collector, SQ Pat, Polygon, Rincewind and Silktail, Diamond Dragon, Robert E. Balmer, Shadowmaster, VSim Darf. That's the credits, I think, for the document that I use. That's really where I live with this game, is that document. So do go check that out. There's a lot of amazing things going on with this game, both the vanilla version here in NES and the ROM hacking world in this very cool game. I do have lots of run-throughs of various ROM hacks of this game, so if you do want to see what a ROM hack looks like of this game without having to invest the time to play it yourself, I have several of them you can check out. We've got Final Fantasy Ultra by Robert Augustin Meyer. We've got Final Fantasy ZZ by Zonk Miles, and then several of the improvement patches, so things like Final Fantasy Restored, Final Fantasy Reconstructed, those kinds of things I've got on my channel here. You can go back and check out those playlists, and you can see my video style as it's evolved through the years. Usually pretty low quality, but the gameplay I like to think is pretty high. The gameplay quality I think is high, and the knowledge that I want to pass on I hope is useful for you. And by the way, it looks like Astral Esper's guide was last updated in 2012. So first in 2009, and I also see 2012. So this is the cool The End screen. We're going to let this fill in, and I'm going to let you go here once this is all the way filled in and my cartridge is reset. The RNG value gets reset to its original. I don't know when I'll be back on this game or back on YouTube. I usually take some time off between gaming projects. Who knows what the future holds for any of us, but when did it ever happen? See you next time.